up guys, it's Jennifer. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, we're going to be talking about binge eating and how to overcome it. So first, binge eating. In my opinion, binge eating is eating a large amount of food in one sitting. That's what I define as binge eating. Now I know that sometimes you may go through like a clinic or something and then they diagnose you saying like, oh, she binges based on their definition. But the one I'm referring to for my own personal self and for this video's sake is just eating a large amount of food in one sitting. So tip number one to help you with binge eating is to first, you have to identify why you're binge eating. Is it emotional? Is it habitual? You know, whatever it's stemming from, that needs to be identified first so you know how to handle it. If it is emotional, then that way you can get help. You can get a counselor, talk to a friend, whatever it may be. If it's habitual, you'll know like what things trigger you. Like if walking to your house after a long day triggers you to want to binge eat, before you even walk in the house, prepare your mind before you walk in the door and say, okay, this is a trigger for me. So when I come in, I need to be prepared for this. So maybe you have a snack in the car. Maybe you already have your dinner laid out on the table for you. So when you come home, you see exactly what you're going to eat. So you can kind of be focused on that. But you have to know your trigger. That way you can set up like a plan of attack for it. Another tip to avoid binge eating is buying snack size. Now this is something that I legitimately hated to do because I love food. Like I like to eat. Eating makes me feel good. So I want to eat a lot of it. So let's take for example Cheez-Its. Like I love Cheez-Its. And if I were to crave Cheez-Its, I would want a box. Like I want all the Cheez-Its. But I knew that having a whole box in my possession is not good for me. Like I can't handle that. So I would have to buy a snack size. And the reason why it's frustrating is because just from like a money standpoint, like a small snack size like this is probably like $1. But a big box is probably like $2.50. So it's just like you almost get more for your money buying a big box. But for me, I just know that that isn't good for me. So I just avoid it. All right, so this next tip is going to really require some mental muscle. I don't know if that's a real term, but we're using it. So remind yourself that it is going to taste better later. If you are super stuffed and you're so full and you still want to eat, remind yourself like, hey, I love pizza, but if I have one more slice, I'm really not going to enjoy it if I were to have it tomorrow after work or after church when I'm really hungry for it. That's going to take time to get to that state, because that kind of goes against everything that binge eating is. Like with binge eating, you just want to eat everything in sight and you don't really care, you know what I mean? So that's going to take time, but you have to remind yourself that this will taste so much better if I just wait a few hours, you know, whatever it may be. But you have to set that in your mind, because if you don't, you're just going to keep eating. And honestly, over time, you'll see how much of a waste of food it is. Like if you just kind of eat everything in one sitting, what are you going to eat tomorrow? You know, think about stuff like that. But that's a trickier one. But I mean, over time, of course, you can get there. But be prepared to be patient with yourself on that tip. All right, another tip is to don't be too idle. I think everyone, honestly, well, not everyone, but a lot of people struggle with this. It's just like mindless snacking, especially when you're bored. I don't know what it is about being bored or just like sitting around. You want to like just snack on something. So if you have a problem with eating a lot of food at one time, don't allow yourself to just get so idle. Like when you wake up in the morning or before you go to bed, set out what you're going to do for the next day or that day. Have a schedule set up so that you know what you're doing from hour to hour. That way you're not just sitting around for hours on end watching YouTube or maybe something else, because YouTube is great, right? Or watching something else and you're just kind of like mindlessly snacking, and by the end of the day, you've eaten all your snacks for the week. All right, and my last tip is to plan out your meals and the times you're going to eat them. Now, I know I said in my nutrition mistakes I've made video that I don't, you know, time my meals. I'm not really referring to that in this sense. I'm talking about knowing what you're going to eat for that day and having an idea of when you're going to eat it. And the reason why I gave you this tip is because for me personally, the thought of not exactly knowing when I was going to eat again or when my next meal was going to come kind of gave me anxiety. So if I knew that I was going to have lunch and I knew that it was already prepared and I knew that I was going to have a break around 12 o'clock and I could eat it, I felt fine. But if I don't know that, I'm kind of just like, okay, well, what am I going to do? What am I going to eat? And you just kind of start eating everything. that's something that I had to deal with, and maybe you as well. So if that's the case, have your meals already prepared for the day. If you don't meal prep, maybe you know that you're going to go to the caf at 11:50, and you're going to eat lunch, whatever it may be. Just already have an idea of what you're going to be eating and the time you'll have it. That way you can kind of just be at peace internally. So I know binge eating is like super hard to kind of overcome. At least for me, it was. It is something that I struggle with so much today, but it is something I am very cautious of because I can revert back to it, and I have before. So I know it's possible to overcome it. It really, honestly though, takes patience. It takes patience with yourself and being consistent. But I hope these tips helped, and if you're new to my channel, hello, welcome to my channel. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys in a new video very soon. Bye guys.